everybody, Edwin the Magic Engineer here, and I'm just gonna have a real quick episode, just a couple little things I want to show you guys today. I had a mail day and some packs showed up from a specific vendor on TCG Player, and I want to show you guys what I got here and talk about like why I think this is a good thing to buy. And I also want to go over what this little beauty is, and I'll tell you about it in the video upcoming in just a second. But before I get into my video, I just also want to give a quick shout out to MTG Purple and Magical Tabletop Girls. I've been jumping onto their chat room when one of them goes live and chatting with them a little bit here and there. And they're just like, I just think they're fun, interesting people. And I like MTG Purple's content very specifically just because like, he's such an energetic guy and he kind of has like an interesting voice and stuff like that. And he has good perspectives on a lot of stuff. So for anyone who's watching my channel, if you have little kids, just be careful. Sometimes he does drop bombs in his videos and stuff like that, but he's an interesting person. So shout out to you guys. Thanks for being awesome. And if you guys want to see links to their channels, we'll put them right below in my channel. But anyways, let's get to what all this stuff is right here. Let's get to it. Okay, here we go for some fun stuff. First, maybe I'll go over this. This is a booster box of beta, actually, is what this was actually from. And some of you guys might recognize this from the video where open boosters showed up in Rudy's store. And when all of us were together, and he opened this, and this is the beta starter box that actually just had, well, I'm not going to say what's actually in it. You guys got to watch the video. In fact, I'm going to link it below what this, or maybe even link it up top, what this actual video was. And I think it was shown on Rudy's channel. But after we opened this together, and which is really fun, by the way, because we all got to wear the blue gloves that open boosters normally wears. He brought sets for all of us, and then after this, he actually gave me the box, and I had him sign the box, and I actually had him sign the instruction booklet, and so I kept this as a memory. And this is actually the gloves I wore for that time, so I should do something fun with these. I actually haven't taken out of the box since then. This is since I got back from Florida, this is the first time I've actually taken these back out. So there we go. There's the Open Boosters gloves, and here is the instruction manual for beta, and there's the Open Boosters signature on it. So this is a neat little memento for me. Like, I never got to actually open a pack of beta or buy it, you know, when these were new and they were so cheap. So this is pretty cool for me. I really like this memento. Thanks, OB, for it. So anyways, on to these. So what I wanted to do this video for is, many of you guys might assume that every time I do a video, it's always about really expensive vintagey cards. And of course I like vintagey cards. Old school has been my favorite format, and EDH and vintage and legacy are short behind that. But I've been buying a lot of old school cards because I absolutely believe that old school cards are going up in value. I think if all of you guys have been paying attention to my Instagram feed and my channel, I've been telling you guys, grab these old school cards while you can, because they're not going to be cheap for long. And so what I've got here is actually not super expensive stuff. It's actually like fairly small common stuff. And the total price that I paid for all these cards was only barely over $60, I think. But probably maybe even by the time you're watching this video, like, it's not going to be 60 much longer for all this stuff. Maybe even just like one of these at some point will hit 60 bucks in the very near future. Anyways, let's get started. So in this pack, and again, I got this off of, I think Card Hoss was the name of the vendor from TCG Player. So we have a Tormod's Crypt and Mana Clash, a few of them from the Dark. And Fire and Brimstone. You know, I've never even like owned copies of these before. And those are also from the Dark. I love that artwork. Isn't that beautiful? Good work, Jeff. And some good Doug Schuler art here. Some Fastings. I figured it'd be nice to have a play set of these. And Brothers of Fire. I've definitely used these guys in decks over the years. They're useful cards for sure. And my buddy Jason Murray would always call these Hole in Your Head whenever he would cast it on me at vintage tournaments back in Chico, California, back in the day. Fantastic card. It's even definitely playable in older formats, even still today. I just like this because it's an Arabian Nights land. It's not super playable, but it is Arabian Nights and looks like all of them, and it's got the right symbol and stuff, so it's just cool. I wanted a Legends set of the blue mana, of the batteries, I should say, and I didn't actually have a blue, so I got one of those. A couple Orc Generals here, pumping up your Orcs. And Dark Heart of the Wood. I mean, this is kind of like an old school Zuran Orb, right? It's pretty smooth though, especially when you're playing decks with dual lands. I definitely see that this could actually be usable in some ways. So there we go. There's the first pack. And let's go for the second pack. So as you can see, red mana battery. I'm completing that mana battery set. And then a Cry Shield. Hyperion Blacksmith on the Heaven's Gates. Look at these. Aren't these just beautiful artwork? Don't you just love that? Doug Schuler did such a good job with those. Headless Horseman. I always think of Halloween, Ichabod Crane, all that when I see this. There's the green mana battery. And what it looks like could have been an awesome scepter. I've always kind of loved this card because of that artwork right there. And the Giant Strengths. Old school equipment, right? This is how it was back in the day. Some Fire Sprites. And Fire Sprites are pretty cool. Dwarven Song. Blazing Effigy. Aren't these great? Backdraft. There could be some uses for these. Does half the damage rounded down, done by one sorcery cast to the caster of the sorcery. You know where I could see these is like if there's ever like an EDH format that was like only old school cards. You got multiple people playing in 100-card decks. These would be pretty solid. Anti-magic aura. Protect those enchantments. And the Leprechaun. There was a neat article on this guy here pretty recently on, I think, one of the old school Magic pages. And it was on St. Patrick's Day, and they were talking about the Leprechaun. This is some of that amazing Quentin Hoover work. I mean, guys, look at that. Quentin did such good work on his stuff. It was really amazing. And there's another one, actually, right there. Wand of Ith. Amazing artwork. And see, look at right here. See the magic that's kind of surrounding the crystal there? And he kind of draws the outlines around it. That is so typical Quentin Hoover. I mean, you recognize it instantly when you see him. There's Uncle Isvin. Good solid creature. Can't be killed too easily. And now let's go into the last pack. As you guys can see, these aren't crazy cards, right? But they're all original print. And I think that they were very cheap. Wailui Wolf. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Tap to give any creature in play +1/+1. I could definitely use him in some decks. And Sandstorm could be used to wiping out token weenie hordes. Giant Tortoise is a great blocker. Okay, now these ones I was especially happy about these. I've even got a black deck. You guys have been seeing me play like the black budget deck, and in the deck builders, like the video series I'm doing right now, the Brewers. It's a series of 3 videos. I'm playing Urg Raiders in that deck. But the ones I had were foreign black border and revised, so I wanted an actual Arabian Nights one. And also specifically, look at the casting cost in this guy. It looks like it's 1 black. This was what's called the dark version of the Urg Raiders. Very cool. I'm very excited about those. Camels! The original camels. The Sage of Latinam. Very good for card draw if you're playing a deck that can make use of it. Reconstruction. Now this card actually went into my Turbostasis deck at one point, and there's still times where it actually might go back in. I mean, there's definitely some use for this card. It's a good card. Primal Clay. Priest of Yawgmoth. Orcish Mechanics. Yep. Shoot things. That's pretty good. Now, Onulets. These are special. I've seen these in decks many times over the years, and like especially in the old school format, that 2 life you can gain can end up being like pretty big, right? It can definitely help out. It can start stacking up there. Curse Rack, make people discard down. Kill everyone on the table with Armageddon Clock. Got some Blacksmith, and we've got some Legends versions of Drudge Skeletons. So yeah, this is cool. It's nice to have some alternate versions of them, and these are just beautiful. Yeah, my daughter's calling me. Hold on just a sec, kiddo. And so here's some Siphon Souls from Legends. These are great in group games, especially when you have a bunch of people playing, and everyone doesn't get too irritated at you when you drop these, but you can definitely suck a lot of life out of everyone in the group. Sylvan Paradise, and finally some Russ. So as you guys can see, what I actually did was I just picked up a nice big stack of original print cards, and again, I can't stress it enough. $60 was cheap for all these cards. So if you guys are watching me and you've been following when I've been making predictions and seeing how they've been going up, I'm telling you, don't miss your opportunity. If you want some of these old original print cards, doesn't even matter if they're reserved list or not. They're original print and they're 25 years old, guys. Go get them. So anyways, thanks everybody.